And we are rolling. Welcome to the 0 to 60 podcast. I'm your host, Matt McChesney. It is a beautiful Thursday morning here in Denver, Colorado. My co-host, Bree Maestas, is out this morning. She'll be back with us shortly. So I know all of you are missing her. I am too. But she'll be back with us on 0 to 60 on the morning show here shortly. So look, today's a very fast-paced, good show. We have a lot of topics to cover. And we're going to get straight into them, okay? Remember that we're always brought to you by our good friends at 60 Equipment, which is also my other company. The body bags, they're selling like hotcakes. The Broncos just ordered some. I'm actually driving some up to northern Colorado right when we get done this morning to drop them off to Coach Lamb and those boys up there, get those guys right in the trench. 60 Equipment is an elite equipment company, and the body bag, you can fit two 6'6", 320-pound offensive linemen on it. You can pass rush it. You can use it in special teams. You can use it for fighting. My man, Brendan Schaub, is going to be my guest on Monday. We're going to talk to him about how, MMA fighters would use it, how, the jiu-jitsu guys use it. My brother, Zach McChesney, who's a fighter and trainer, uses it up at Turtle Creek in the facility up there to get his guys right all the time. Check it out at 60equipment.com. If you want to support a buff, go to 60equipment.com, use the promo code Washington 78, and you'll get 10% saving on Washington every time that his promo code's used to sell a body bag. So we roll this morning on 0 to 60. Like I said, I'm Matt McChesney. Happy Thursday. We started off right off the bat with the passing of a legend. Okay, before we get into football and the news, we have to at least talk about the fact that one of the greats of all time, the great Bobby Knight, passes away yesterday. And, look, Bobby Knight is not a perfect human being by any means. There's a lot of people that probably don't like him. I'm not one of them. I thought he was very colorful and kind of an asshole. And when you win and you're a jerk, it's colorful. And when you lose and you're a jerk, it's not. So I know that there's an encounter in cancel culture that we live in. If you do anything wrong in your past, that's bad. But a life lived, so many kids that he helped and mentored and lives that he changed. I mean, not only that, but maybe the absolute best sound bites of all time. I mean, listen to this one right here. This one is one of my favorites.
All the motivational speeches and phrases and devices in the world, but the greatest motivator of all is your ass on the bench. There is no better motivator. Ass meets bench. Bench retains ass. Ass transmits signal to brain. Brain transmits signal to body. Body gets ass off bench and plays better. I mean, it's a hell of a sequence of things that takes place.
I mean, just as a coach, man, I wish I could retain some of this shit because his one-liners are just gold. But losing a legend, and this older generation is, a lot of those guys are passing on now, and it makes me think, I'm 42 on Monday, and it's life goes fast, bro. It goes really fast. So, Bobby Knight was a staple for years, from throwing chairs and instilling fear to, being a guy that, if you want to talk about Indiana figureheads, and there's a lot in Indiana, from Notre Dame to Indiana Hoosier basketball to the Pacers to the Colts to, if you do a Mount Rushmore of Indiana sports figures, I think that Bobby Knight is definitely on it. So it's sad, but at the same time, an unbelievably good life lived, and so many people, positively affected, and a lot of people probably negatively affected. But you know what? There's light and darkness and everything, and Bobby Knight definitely had both of those, both sides in his life quite a bit. So his favorite word in the world was fuck. He did an interview once where he just talked about all the different ways you can use it. It's incredible. If you can go find it on Google. But to get out of here talking about Bobby Knight, I just want to play this last clip of him, and then we'll put the big guy to rest and move on.
When my time on earth is gone and my activities here are past, I want they bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my ass.
Amen, Bobby. It's pretty much how I feel, but I'm going to get cremated and spread on Folsom. So I guess when you breathe deep, you'll hang out with me. But look, Bobby Knight, dead at 83, absolute legend, brother, tip of the cap. And I hope the ride up in heaven is as good as it was down here. So moving forward on the 0 to 60 podcast, I'm your host, Matt McChesney. Make sure you check out all the different platforms that we use on social media at 60 Academy on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And then also the TikTok stores open there as well for the body bags and all of the 60 gear and swag. We'll have the links up on that here pretty soon. But you can get hoodies and T-shirts. Christmas is coming up. They're really soft. They're warm. The T-shirts are dope. And we can pretty much do whatever you want. So if you want a T-shirt that says you couldn't hit a sick whore off of a piss pot, or, like you guys are moving like old people fuck, we can do that for you. I did a couple cameos yesterday for like a high school football team. My boy TJ Riddle on Twitter reached out and booked a cameo and got his boys right for this weekend for the district championship. So we can do that as well. Check me out there. Lots of different avenues and things to cover, obviously. And then also my co-host, the extremely talented Bree Maestas. Follow her at Bree Maestas 303. She'll be on with us every morning at 10 a.m. after the Coach JB show. Moving forward here as we keep the show going. So as they say, we keep rolling on 0 to 60. And topic number 2 is Thursday Night Football. All right, Titans, Steelers. Will Levis played really well last week. DeAndre Hopkins had 3 touchdowns. The Oilers uniforms looked amazing. And then they lost to Atlanta. So, look, Tennessee's in a rebuild. They got to figure out who their quarterback's going to be moving forward. Will Levis, I thought Will Levis played pretty well last week. I thought Will Levis would probably struggle in the NFL, and he didn't look like he was struggling to me. It looks like Malik Willis was struggling more than Will. Now, Will Levis has incredible upside, but at the same time, he could be Blaine Gabbert as well. So I like Will. I think he has some chip and some swag. Vrabel, guarantee you Coach Vrabel loves his ass. I love Braves. I hope that they retain him in Tennessee. He's far from the problem. They got some good pieces, but they do need to either restock or reload, but probably rebuild. I'd imagine that Tannehill and Derrick Henry and guys like that will be on the way out as they try and do that. They just got rid of Bird, their outstanding safety, back to Philadelphia, which is one of the reasons they probably lost on Sunday. They couldn't contain Atlanta in the fourth quarter. But then you flip it to Pittsburgh. Even when Kenny Pickett's in his small hands, I thought that Pittsburgh would be in contention to win the division this year, and I was right. I mean, their defense travels. I know Meek Fitzpatrick is hurt with a hamstring, but Watt isn't. And TJ Watt is, I don't know if he's better than his brother. They're different players, but I would have loved to see prime JJ in a 3 technique and prime TJ in a 5 technique on an underfront on the same side, rushing together. Holy hell, that would be incredible. But look, TJ Watt is a game changer. Pittsburgh's defense is always good, and I think that they're exceptional this year. That division, the black and blue division, every game counts as, everybody's over 500 and good. Everybody can play defense. Everybody's got pass rushers. I mean, Cleveland's got the biggest freak of freaks in Myles Garrett, and Cincinnati's got Hendrickson and Hubbard and other dudes, and Pittsburgh's got TJ Watt, and Baltimore's got Raekwon and Patrick Queen and everybody in Baltimore. Really, like the fact that they didn't go after Chase Young or Sweat when they're right down the street in DC and Baltimore's right next to them. That was kind of crazy to me. Eric Weddle was on the show on Tuesday, great Baltimore Raven, and he was talking about how they kind of struggled getting pressure with force. So I don't know why you wouldn't go after a guy like Young or Sweat if you could. But they obviously didn't, and Harbaugh knows more about this than I do, and we'll see what happens. But the Thursday night game on Prime tonight is a good one. Oilers, Steelers back in the day in the old NFC Central days, that was a dogfight. This will be the same. They're going to line up and try and hammer the football, get physical, win between the tackles, set up play action, take the stress off of your quarterback with good defense and time of possession and not turning over the ball. The over-under on this game, I'd imagine it can't be that high. I didn't check it this morning because I'm a dimmy. But, shit, we can figure it out here pretty quick. Thank you. That is me. I am Matt. The over-under on this bitch is 36.5. So with Fitzpatrick out, I would, and the fact that Tennessee was kind of leaky last week with their safety also being traded, I would probably take the over at 36.5 there. But at the same time, bro, I mean, this with two young quarterbacks, I wouldn't be surprised if both defenses score. Like, I think that this has the potential to be a really like old school smash mouth NFC Central type game where you just line up and hammer the rock with Derrick Henry. You hammer the rock with Harris. You set up play action shots to your big receivers down the field so Pickens can get some work. And then, you see what you can see. But Hopkins and Pickens will probably go off, have a touchdown each. If I was doing touchdown scores, which I'm sure I'll do later in the day, I would probably go both defenses to score and probably, Hopkins and Henry. So, that's probably what I'll put some bread on this evening. I had a nice little parlay win on Sunday with the Jets, Dolphins, and Broncos all winning. So that was a nice little payout. We'll try and give you some betting knowledge here. But I'm no professional gambler, but I do win more than I lose. I will say that. So Thursday Night Football should be pretty good on Prime as we move forward. Changing topics here a little bit as we get going here on 0 to 60 on the Believe Network. Thank you for all that they do. The Nuggets take their first L of the season last night. They go to Minnesota. They take an L. They lose 110-89. Look, they're 4-1. This was a scheduled loss. I mean, everybody got the memo about losing except for Nikola. He went for like 27 and 10. But Porter and Murray were no-shows, and it happens. When no one's trying to go undefeated in the NBA, they'll probably finish with 25, maybe even 30 losses, which sucks. But I personally think this team could win 60 games, and that's what they should strive for. And look, I know that they looked really good at the beginning of the season. Last night, they just ran into a good Minnesota team that wanted to make a point at home. Karl Anthony Towns played well. They've got some dudes in Minnesota. Remember, this was the first round game last year where the Nuggets won 4-1. So I think the Nuggets bench has surprised the entire NBA. And honestly, that was supposed to be our crush. And, throughout the show here on 0 to 60 on the Believe Network, we're going to have a bunch of my old boys from Altitude Sports Radio, which houses the Nuggets. And look, hats off to them. And thank you for all that they did for me over at Altitude, Kevin and Dave Fleck. They're some of the best in the business. They just hired DMAC. That's awesome. So I'm really proud of those guys over there and all that they do. But I wanted a 5-day-a-week show, and they didn't want to have me on 5 days a week. And you know what? Gravy cooks, baby. So we're rolling. But I'll have Scotty Hastings and my man Chris Dempsey and Vic Lombardi and all those guys on to talk about the Denver Nuggets as the season goes on. Anybody that knows me knows I love my Nugs. So in both sense. And I think that they're going to repeat. So look, they didn't go into the season trying to go 82-0, although that would be awesome. But at the same time, this isn't a video game. So learn from what you can from last night. Everybody came out of it healthy. Minnesota gets a dub, good for them. Denver takes an L, first one, on to the next one. And now you've got this mid-season tournament shit and Dallas on deck. And I don't really look at the mid-season tournament as, I don't know what it is. They get a new floor, I guess. That's cool. I'll watch. I swear I'll watch. But I'm more interested in just watching Luka, and because he's a freak, and Jokic. I wonder if those two would ever want to play together, like some of these Eastern Bloc dudes, like team up. Dirk Nowitzki can get on the coaching staff as well, being an assistant. I'm just saying that would be pretty cool. But that'll be a great matchup. I mean, Dallas is a playoff team, so we're probably gonna have to deal with them at some point this year. So we'll see what happens with this midseason tournament. But your guess is as good as mine, man. Other than a new floor and maybe a new uniform, I don't have a fucking clue what we're doing. So it is, as they say, what it is. All right, we roll here on 0 to 60. Topic number 4 is just breaking down. We'll do it again tomorrow, but it'll be more specific to the Colorado Buffaloes and some of the bigger games around the country. But I want to go over this slate right now, okay, with college football. Number 1, all right, game day is at LSU versus Alabama. This is for the West. LSU's 14th, Alabama is 8th. Game days there, like I said, the winner of this game has the ability to control their own destiny in the Western Division of the SEC. So that's big time. I think Alabama wins the game at home. LSU beat them last year and ended up losing to Georgia in the SEC title game. Alabama does not like that. They are salty. I think that Coach Saban will have them ready. That speech he made earlier this week, I think it was yesterday, about nothing and how if you don't put in work, you get nothing. And if you don't try hard, you get nothing. And all the other things he was talking about, holy hell, it was motivational. I definitely should have put that in there this morning, but I forgot because of the whole football thing. And I got my helmets over here. They weigh like 40 pounds each. They're not like these new nice helmets. So just saying, I forgot. I'll take Alabama in that one. I think Bama is scary, bro. If they get in with one loss, I mean, no one wants to play Nick Saban in Alabama. We'll put it like that. Number 2, the other side of the SEC is Missouri, number 12 ranked, going to number 2 Georgia. Now, look, Georgia hasn't lost in 2 years. They're back-to-back defending champions. Missouri this is the biggest game in Missouri history, period. I mean, they are 100% just ready to go, locked in. They've had great recruiting classes, and they built that place into a monster. I think they can run with Georgia, but I'm not going to pick them to beat Georgia in Athens. That's crazy. I'm going to go with the dogs here, but I will say this. If Missouri figures out how to win this game, they put themselves in the driver's seat in the SEC to go win the conference and get into the playoff. And I know that sounds crazy right now, but this is the beauty of college football in November. College football in November is where you nut cut. It's cojones clipping time. If you can go on a run, you will achieve goals. From a personal perspective, we'll talk about Colorado at the end of this, but the personal side of this I'll talk about, and how every year in November those games are always the biggest games because it separates who's winning what and who's playing for what. So I'll take Georgia there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri really, really plays hard. The next one, we go to the West Coast. Washington travels to SC. I'm taking Washington here. I just don't think SC can stop Michael Penix Jr., even if it is a shootout and Caleb Williams finds a way to put some holes in that outstanding Washington defense. Washington's offensive line, especially the right tackle, Roger Rosengarten, a Valor Products guy I worked back in the day. Wish I could work with him more, but he just an absolute stud of a player. NFL guy, definitely a high draft pick. Wears number 73 for them. He's a tone setter, bro. That's a bad man in Roger Rosengarten. And I think that's really the difference in this game is the trench. I think Washington is super tough up front. I love their offensive line and the way they play. Paul Creighton is their tight end coach, one of their guys, and he played with me at Niwot High School back in the day and at CU. He's a brother of mine, and I really want to see them have success. So I'm pulling for the Huskies pretty hard. I'm not going to lie. I almost went there out of high school. They were my number 2. New Heisel offered a lot, if you know what I'm saying, and then really tried to get me to go up to Seattle. Thank God it didn't work, but still, I'm pulling for Washington. I think that they will win. I hate SC. Although we got some guys there, and I like some of the coaches, I think that experiment is about to be over in LA as Lincoln Riley goes to the Raiders. But I do think Washington wins this game on the road, and they put themselves in position to really control the Pac-12. I'm telling you, bro, if Oregon can beat Oregon State and they control their destiny, and that Pac-12 title game is Oregon against Washington, that's going to be a top probably 6 matchup, like 5-6, 4-5, and it is going to be a fucking dogfight. And whoever wins that game is getting in, period. I don't care about the one-loss thing. The Pac-12 is the best conference in football this year, and they need to be respected as such. So I'll take Washington there. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in Bedlam for the last time. Just listen to what I said. Bedlam is done after Saturday. I mean, fuck college football. I mean, man, as a guy who lost his rivals, at least now going back to the Big 12, we'll talk about this a lot today. CU has a natural rival in Kansas State. I don't know why we don't make Oklahoma State a huge rival. They're rival-less as well. But Bedlam is now done after Saturday, and I hope Oklahoma State wins so bad. I mean, I love Oklahoma. I love what they're doing. I got guys there. Josh Bates is a great player who's there. But, damn it, they need to find a way to play this game every year. And Oklahoma State, honestly, if I'm Oklahoma State and T-Boon's picking in them, I would have wanted Oklahoma to be like, hey, you want to come with us to the SEC? If I'm Texas, I would have asked Baylor or Tech to come, maybe take 4 teams. But leaving them in the wake, it's disrespectful, and it should piss people off in Cowboy country. And I hope Oklahoma State, Jamie Blatnick, who's their strength coach out there, is a great friend of mine, a guy who played for the Broncos here and just a stud of a human. I really hope that the Cowboys figure out a way to win this game. Coach Dickey, their offensive line coach, is a great man. He pushes his guys hard. Oklahoma is a good team, but they're not unbeatable. They got to go back on the road to Stillwater this week, and that is a really, really, really hard place to play. So it's the only stadium in the country that goes east and west and not north and south. I don't know if anybody knows that, but it's kind of weird. And the fans are right on top of you. It's super loud. So I'm really hoping that Oklahoma State can figure out a way to win the last Bedlam game and beat the Sooners and put their playoff hopes to rest, but also elevate Oklahoma State's Big 12 title hopes and see if they can get a way to get there. And they still have to play Texas, so we'll see what happens. But pulling for Oklahoma State, we'll see what happens. Another huge Big 12 matchup, another ranked matchup. Keep in mind, all of these are ranked teams with the exception of maybe 3 of them. Kansas State goes to Manhattan to play Texas, 23-7. Now, Kansas State won the Big 12 last year. They beat Texas last year. They are always tough as nails. I love the way they do things. Jake Stonebreaker, outstanding linebacker, safety, running back, all-around badass, Swiss Army knife down in Douglas County. A great kid that's been in my program forever, is committed there. I love the way they recruit. Coach Klein is from Loveland. I mean, he was a quarterback there. He'll never leave. He'll probably be the next head coach if Kleinman ever decides to retire. But I love what they do. Buddy Wyatt's their D-line coach. He recruited me out of high school, and Coach Riley, their offensive line coach, is just a badass. And they are one of the programs that still does it a little old school. Like their recruiting's a little old school, which I dig. They take a lot of time to offer guys. They're very diligent in their preparation. They're playing to their strengths. They develop the shit out of their players mentally and physically. I mean, Dalton Reisner just loves that place and raves about it. And Dalton was in my program since he was like 14, and he made such a great decision going there. And, now he's an ambassador for the program. So, look, I don't like Texas none, okay? I did the charity stripe yesterday with those guys. It was awesome. Make sure you check out their show. We did a couple clips yesterday talking about UT going to the SEC, and they're both big Texas guys. And I mean, it kind of made me sick trying to agree with them, but yeah, it might be fun for them. But I don't like Texas. I hope they get their asses kicked. And I'm pulling for Kansas State hard here. It's going to be a hell of a game, but I am going to take K-State on the road. I know that's an unpopular pick, and people think I'm crazy, but this is what Kansas State does. So the minute you count them out, they count themselves in. So they're going to check in for work. Texas is probably going to read the press clippings, and we'll see what we can see. But I'm going to take the Wildcats on the road there. All right, the next one, Notre Dame goes to Clemson. Clemson is in free fall right now. They're 4-4. Dabo Swinney is freaking out on people on the radio in his khakis. Like, I don't know why there's not enough room for my balls in here. Look, I think Clemson is just having a year where they got to reload and rebuild. And, Sweeney's got to figure out if he wants to use the transfer portal and why he's so old school. This is one of the reasons why they're losing out. They're not playing the same game everyone else is playing. I think Notre Dame is going to take the opportunity to really beat that ass. I love their quarterback, Hartman. He wears a bone necklace made out of his own fucking rib cage around his neck. I mean, shit, dog. That's who I want to play for. Fuck yeah. And he's got a Dan Fouts beard and shit, and he's out there just fucking slinging. Bet you could throw a football over the mountains over there. He's probably tagged people with steak more times than you can say tagging people with steak. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame there. I think the Fighting Irish have a lot of heart. That's a good football team. UCLA goes to Arizona. Please, Arizona, find a way to win. Please. Arizona upset Oregon State last week. They come to Boulder next week. That's a good football team. Did in Tucson. They're tough as nails. UCLA walks in there and plays like they did against CU the first half, and they will lose. So I'm hoping Arizona wins, but I do think UCLA will win on the road. Their defense is just nice. Kansas goes to Iowa State. Now, this is the upset of the week. All right, Iowa State is going to beat a ranked Kansas team at home. Ames is an absolute shithole. Nobody wants to go there and play. The wind's probably going to be blowing right and left at the same time, which would insinuate a cyclone. Shocking. I think Coach Campbell's that dude. They're still in contention for the Big 12. They lost a bunch of non-conference games, so they're in a very good spot in Ames, and this is a huge game for them. So I think that Kansas, just coming off a massive win against Oklahoma, that's the way college football works. You got to get ready to play the next week. I think that Kansas takes an L on the road in Ames. The next one, Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is pretty good, but this is another upset pick for me. I think that A&M goes into Ole Miss and gets a huge W. Trey Zune, the left tackle for Texas A&M, is one of my guys from Fossil Ridge. Just an absolute hell of a player, and they keep getting better and better and better every week. They mopped up South Carolina last week. I do think that this is a huge opportunity for Jimbo Fisher. I think that he can kind of go on a run here at the end of the year and maybe save his job and save his tenure down there. And I don't believe in Ole Miss. First of all, I don't know how anybody can keep playing for that shithole, but we'll get into that at a different time. But I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I know that I'm a little bit of a homer here, but I don't give a shit. It's my show. And the last one, Oregon State at Colorado. Obviously, I'm going to take the Buffs, but we will talk about this today on the 2 o'clock show. Definitely way deeper than how I'm about to. And I will be on DNVR Buffs later today with Ryan and Jake. And then Ryan Koenigsberg, my boy, the Buff, is going to be our guest on the 2 o'clock show today. We're going to pre-record it, and he'll be my guest. And we're going to talk about the schedule release going back to the Big 12. We're going to preview Oregon State. We're going to talk about the recruiting and all the big timers they got coming in this week. Like I said earlier, my man Brett Kruje is at IMG. He's going to Michigan. He's going to Alabama this weekend to watch Alabama and LSU play. But the guy who plays right next to him, George Seaton, is coming to Boulder, and that's a 5-star #1 tackle in the country. So I'm trying to get in his ear as much as I can. We met at the SC game, but get in his ear and see if we can make sure that Jordan Seaton is a Buffalo playing left tackle for CU next year as a 5-star #1 player in the country. So, we'll see what we can see there. But when I have access the way I do because of Breck and him being just one of the best guards in the country, is only a sophomore playing next to the best tackle in the country who's just coming to Boulder this weekend, we will obviously dive into all of that deeply, as they say. So look, that's the fifth topic, because I'm just teasing you, and I don't mean to tease you, but I do. I can't help it. I'll tease you, and then a little afternoon delight at 2 o'clock with the big guy. Fuck. All right. So, lastly, okay. Yesterday, I saw a video of Matt Rule's speech to his football team before they went and took the field against Purdue last week. And they had a pink ribbon on the back of their helmet. And I hate Nebraska with a passion, but I sure do respect Coach Rule and Coach Knight and then the men out there. Sold them some body bags. There's a relationship. It's built out of hateful respect, but damn it, there's respect. And Coach Rule's speech to his team, talking about how they're not there to see you win or whatever. They're just here to see you play, or you're the warrior. The warrior, the warrior is the weapon. And talking about everybody's moms and grandmas and aunts, and even men that have had cancer. That ribbon means anybody that's fought that disease, and it's everyone. I don't know anybody who hasn't been personally affected by it. My Aunt Susie right now is dealing with stomach cancer, and she's a Nebraska native, and she lives there. And it just hit me really, really hard yesterday. And it's bigger than football. And I posted it on Twitter, and there's people that are like negatively reacting because it's Nebraska. I don't know what to say to you people other than you got some real, real, real mental problems. It's way bigger than football, bro. It's about life and what football can do and the eyes it can get on situations and problems. And, take the time today, if you want, to reach out to somebody that's struggling, to reach out to a family member that's sick, even if they're not. It could be down the road. You don't know the way life works. Life comes at you fast, man. And if you don't step back and think about it and really reach out to the people you love and care about and tell them and forgive and be the other side. Don't be the vindictive, angry side. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not productive. I know I used to do it all the time. But if you can be calm and attack things with grace and understand that everybody's struggling with something underneath that you don't know anything about, and that's just full circle back to what Coach Rule was talking about. And it really, really hit me hard, had me crying like a baby. So hats off to Coach Rule for that. Speech was incredible. It's one of the reasons why, even bringing it back to Coach Prime, like the fact that he records everything and there's so much access to him, it's forcing everybody else to do the same, which is showing the humanity of football, which I think is a really good thing. So in a game where everything's about go, 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 kill, 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 wartime, you got to remember what you're doing it for. Like the shirt I'm wearing today, it says, pray for peace, prepare for war. And I believe it wholeheartedly. But what are you fighting for? That's why you go to war. That's why you go play. So you can be the support, so you can be a source of pride, the name on the front and the name on the back of your jersey. So the people that may be watching you that are sick or have lost somebody, they can remember. And one of my best memories of my brothers and my family, they're all centered around football games and Thanksgiving, and it's so much bigger than just a game. And yeah, it just got me thinking about everybody that's been lost and that I've lost, and it was an incredible speech, and I tip my hat to Coach Rule, and I still hope you lose, but damn it, that was pretty impressive. So, look, before I get all mushy here on 0 to 60 to end the show, we'll be back this afternoon with the Buff, DNVR's own Ryan Koenigsberg will be on the show to talk about the Buffs, the schedule in the Big 12 moving forward, the trip to Florida, the trip to Manhattan and Kansas State, coming to Boulder, going to Stillwater. It seems like home. So super excited about that. We'll also preview Oregon State. Remember, go on YouTube, subscribe and smash the like button. Follow us at all the different platforms. And yeah, great show. Happy Thursday. Don't hesitate to reach out and make sure you tell the people you care about that you do. So have a great show, or have a great Thursday, folks. And I will talk to you this afternoon with Ryan Koenigsberg on the 2 o'clock show.